This document I'll be reading from is a report by the Central Intelligence Agency from the Directorate of Operations. The report, entitled September 11, The Plot and the Plotters, was finalized on June 1st, 2003, and later approved for public release on April 25th, 2012. This research paper was prepared by the DCI Counterterrorist Center's Office of Terrorism Analysis. Section 5, Preparations for the Mission. When they left Afghanistan, the future pilots immediately began to prepare for their missions. Marwan al-Shehi, Ziad Jarrah, Ramzi bin al-Shibh, to clean their passports of Pakistani visas before applying for a U.S. visa. Upon their return to Germany, they shaved their beards. Redaction. Al-Shehi obtained a new passport in the United Arab Emirates on January 2nd, 2000, reporting his old one lost. Redaction. And on January 18th, received a U.S. visa from the U.S. consulate in Dubai, United Arab Emirates. Jarrah returned to Hamburg. Redaction. Reported that his passport had been lost. He received a visa from the U.S. Embassy in Berlin on May 25th. Atta, redaction, received a new Egyptian passport. He used the name Muhammad Atta on his passport, although on his previous passports he used his name Muhammad El Amir Atta, according to an Al Jazeera interview of Khalid Sheikh Mohammed to Yusri Fuda. On May 18th, the U.S. Embassy in Berlin issued him a U.S. visa. In May of 2000, Ramzi bin al-Shibh was denied a U.S. visa in July of 2000 during an interview at the U.S. Embassy in Berlin. Ramzi bin al-Shibh was told that since he had only been in Germany for 2 years, he had insufficient connections to assure his departure from the United States. Upon their return from Afghanistan in 2000, Muhammad Atta, Marwan al-Shehi, Ziad Jarrah, and Ramzi bin al-Shibh began looking for flight schools in Europe and learned that European flight schools were very expensive and involved a very long training period. They soon learned that flight schools in the United States were less expensive, of shorter duration, and not terribly rigorous, and began looking for flight schools in the United States via the internet. In March 2000, Muhammad Atta sent emails to flight schools in Florida and Oklahoma asking about pilot training. While the Hamburg pilots were wrapping up their business in Afghanistan and returning to Germany, halfway around the world in Malaysia, the al-Qaeda veterans Nawaf al-Hazmi and Khalid al-Mihdhar were also preparing to come to the United States. After receiving U.S. visas in April, both men had traveled to Afghanistan and received special training in the redaction. Nawaf al-Hazmi and Khalid al-Mihdhar entered the United States on January 15, 2000 from Bangkok, Thailand, via Hong Kong. They entered the United States through Los Angeles, California, and took up residency in San Diego. Within several months of entering the United States, the two inquired about flight training in Florida, according to law enforcement information and court documents. In May of 2000, they took 2 flight schools for familiar trips from a school in San Diego. However, they never signed up for formal flight training similar to the course of instruction that the hijacker pilots seem to have taken. Soon after these flights, the two split up, with Khalid al-Mihdhar leaving the country in June of 2000 and not to return for more than a year, and Nawaf al-Hazmi remaining in San Diego for the rest of the year. Nawaf al-Hazmi did little that was operationally significant for the rest of 2000. He eventually took part in a part-time job at a gas station from a local jihadist contact, according to law enforcement information. Nawaf al-Hazmi remained in San Diego until December of 2000, when he met up with Hani Hanjour, the hijacker, who was later piloting American Airlines Flight 77 that crashed into the Pentagon, and the two paired up and moved to Phoenix, Arizona, where Hanjour brushed up on his flying skills. Marwan al-Shehi, Muhammad Atta, Ziad Jarrah entered the United States in May and June of 2000 from 2 different European cities. On May 29th, Marwan al-Shehi flew from Brussels to Newark. Atta traveled by bus to Prague, entering the city on June 2nd, 2000, and flew to Newark the next day. Ziad Jarrah flew from Dusseldorf to Newark and then on to Venice, Florida on June 27th. The 3 Hamburg pilots spent the latter half of 2000 learning to fly in Florida. After briefly touring the Airman Flight School in Oklahoma in early July of 2000, Muhammad Atta, Marwan al-Shehi trained at Huffman Aviation with a brief unsuccessful stint at nearby Jones Aviation, while Jara enrolled alone at the Florida Flight Training Center. It appears, however, that Jara also to have a Hamburg partner in Florida.